YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I'm going to be back with another Attila online battle, and I'm doing these because it feels like they have a... I'm going to turn off my Steam messages just real quick, so definitely don't mind chat with my friend there, but don't want to accidentally spam the video with Steam messages, so I'll turn those off. He was commenting on the Blood DLC, which it sounded like he wasn't real impressed with it, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not real impressed with the Blood DLC either. I don't know the burning part of it. I haven't gotten to watch that yet, so I'll go see what it's about, but just from a Blood standpoint, I felt like the Blood DLC was a little underwhelming, to be honest. The Blood in Shogun 2 was amazing and kind of fit like the art theme of the game, and Rome 2 was pretty nice too. It kind of had like a slightly darker, more realistic feel to it. And honestly, I think both of them are better than what we see in Attila. Not a big fan of it. It's $3, and if you just really want Blood in the game, can't go wrong. I want to say that there's a Radius mod out there that affects the Blood too, but I don't know if you have to have the Blood DLC in order to use the Radius mod that affects the Blood. But I mean, so anyway, it's not as good as I hoped it would be. So I'll let you all take a look at it yourself and make the decision. I just like having it there, and $3 doesn't really bother me, but yes, it's irritating. I feel like there probably should have been a little more effort put into it. Though again, I'm not saying it like it's game breaking or I hate them because of it or something like that. It was a little below my expectation as far as what I had hoped it would be. Especially since the rest of the game is so dark and gritty and all that kind of stuff. I just really expected it to be a little more down that road. So let's jump into the battle this time. I accidentally gave you all kind of a teaser trailer for it last time because I clicked on the wrong replay. This is going to be a West Rome versus Visigoths, and this would have been instant destruction in the last path, and is still a very dangerous matchup in my opinion. However, I feel like the West Romans do have some tools that can come in handy, one of which is the Magister Militum. This is a very tanky cavalry, quite capable against sword infantry and squishy targets in general. So, also Armigeri Defensores, I really like these guys, and I want to say they're a little cheaper now too. Very nice melee attack and melee damage for the price, and really no charge bonus, but excellent melee defense, and they have the attacking Testudo. Elite Palatina are pretty punishing units as well. And then you're going to have, I can't remember if Ballistari got cheaper, but the Fundatores are very cheap, and these guys can be very handy at pushing back Germanic archers and making them waste ammo on a target that's very cheap. So I like the Fundatores. They do lack the range of the Germanic archers, but they can be helpful in kind of deflecting some of their potential. Equites Promoti have gotten a little better, and same with Scoli Platini in this patch. Not because their units really took many changes, if any, but mainly because the Germanic Cav's no longer quite as strong. Again, the Noble Germanic Cav, though, is better still. No question about it. Alani Cav, Noble Germanic Cav, both going to be better than these guys. I don't know if Cataphractari got a change, but did they always have 38 melee attack? Something I wondered. Seems like it's higher. I love Cataphractari. They're a cool unit. Anyway, yeah, that's the West Romans. As far as the Visigoths, the reason why I think they're stronger, Gothic Warband, these guys deliver a punishing blow for the price. You got Gothic Palatina Defectors, also an excellent unit for the price. And then you have all these other units like Gothic Falksmen that have a punishing attack and charge along with Javelins. A very good faction. Germanic Archers at only 250 cost. Gothic Archers, I don't know what these guys are about. Definitely go with the Germanic Archers. Yeah, that's pretty much just about it. From a cavalry standpoint, you got these Noble Germanic Horsemen. Again, great cav. Typhali Cavalry dropped in price a little bit, but guessing these guys still stink. I don't know. I haven't tested them. And then, of course, you got some Lancers that you can bring into play, and these crazy Gardingi Cavalry that I'm sure no one will ever use. But in any case, West Rome versus the Visigoths. Let's see how it goes. I expect a difficult game. I haven't known who my opponents were in the last two. I don't know a ton of people in lines, but sometimes I recognize people who play in tournaments. I didn't recognize this guy. His name was Lurtz. I have 5 Armigeri Defensores, 2 Elite Palatina, 4 Fundatores, 2 Cataphractari, and then I have 6 Equites Promotis with bronze, triple bronze, and then a Magister Militum for my general. And that's my army. Let's check out the Visigothic army. My opponent up front has 5 Gothic Palatina Defectors, which are basically the equivalent of my Elite Palatina, except at a better price. He's got 2 Thracian Warriors, very nice units to have in reserve, very good at charging into cavalry once it's fixed. Also have Javelins, and then he's got a Germanic Noble to save money. Can't remember if the Visigoths have access to a Cav General. I want to say they do. Not sure why I didn't bring it. And then he's got 6 Noble Germanic Horsemen, triple bronze, so he definitely owns the cavalry fight. The infantry fight, though, is very possible for my guys to do very well. My guys are quite tanky. His Gothic Palatina defectors have a little less health and quite a bit less armor. But they definitely have better attack and the same damage. So it'll be kind of a tanky fight back and forth with these guys, but my elite Palatina ought to do quite well, depending on how they're matched up. I expect my Equites Promoti to take a savage beating. So let's just kind of take a look at what my opponent's doing here. As the battle starts off here on the woodland map, my opponent deployed slightly to this side, and then he immediately made a push for this terrain because my army was spread wide, which means now this part of my army is much closer for him to single out an attack, and these guys are going to have to try and rush into combat to stop this from happening. So this is a very good use of maneuvering on the part of my opponent, and I was impressed by this and pretty worried at how I was going to turn this around, because my opponent, if I don't do anything, he turns and gets better high ground here. So one way or the other, I need to do something about this. So kudos to my opponent. He's put me in a bad position from the very beginning of this. So I'm going to come in with my Equites Promoti and try and get a last-second countercharge. I did, fortunately, or else this would have been even worse. But I did get to throw the javelin, so that'll help. But my opponent has overloaded this flank with 4 Noble Germanic Horsemen, and my Elite Palatina and other units are at huge risk here, and I'm probably killing a lot of my Equites. So my opponent goes ahead and just YOLO charges in his Noble Germanics, because all I have left here is a Cataphractari and my Magister Militum. So my Elite Palatina are going to take a beating on the charge. I mean, just almost completely destroyed on the charge, down half their men instantly. Fortunately, these guys should be able to get back in that fight and start causing some damage. The Noble Germanic Archers outranging me, and I should have taken my Fundatores off fire at will. I'm wasting ammo against the front of these Gothic Palatina defectors when really my ammo needs to be saved for either his cavalry or his archers. My Equites Promoti get into combat with more of his guys over here. I think I'm kind of 2 versus 1, but he's reinforcing with Palatina defectors and Thracian warriors. Going to be a very dangerous battle for me over there. But I have lots of great infantry heading that way. I've got these Armigeri Defensores, but these Gothic Palatina defectors, I'm actually going to interrupt their charge here by accident. And then I'm going to get a decent charge on these Palatina defectors. Again, my Armigeri Defensores are going to team up here because I have more infantry. And then I've got an extra unit of infantry here. And then an extra unit of infantry here. So I've got reserves that I can use as delaying over here, but I am quickly losing the fight on this side. I had to bring my Magister Militum in, so I used Brace, and I actually destroy his Germanic Cav. I'm actually firing into this and shouldn't be because it's hurting my own Magister Militum. And then my Cataphractari got a brilliant rear charge and just destroyed this Noble Germanic Horseman. I didn't expect that, but they did. I'm going to get a very nice charge into this Gothic Palatina defector with the Magister Militum, but he's going to reinforce with yet more Noble Germanic Horsemen. But they actually kind of get caught rather than getting a charge, which was very fortunate for me. And these Gothic Palatina defectors take a savage beating from my Magister Militum. And then I have a Cataphractari that's already wrecking his archers, and I'm going to run a rear charge to get his Noble Germanic Horsemen away from that fight. So these Cataphractari are going to get a nice charge, and he's going to be hitting some of his own guys. And these Cataphractari are getting lined up for, again, a brutal rear charge here. Let's watch that. So here comes the rear charge from my Cataphractari, and this is going to smash what was left of that infantry unit. I had to do this to save my Magister Militum. And you can see those brutal Germanic archers in the background doing what they do best, which is pouring flaming shot. But at the same time, he's hurting his own cavalry here. He really is. But he was getting the better of this. But this Cataphractari is about to clutch out a massive charge versus these Thracian warriors and just absolutely throttle these guys. You can see this guy got charged all the way back here. The flaming shot comes in, and my opponent basically routs his own unit for me because now the morale drops. But I am losing over here. These Equites Promoti came back from routing, stopped the Noble Germanic Horsemen just long enough for me to crush the Thracians, and then his Cav over here is getting teamed up on by Elite Palatina and my Magister Militum. Across the center, I did good, where I doubled up over here, his Noble Germanics, and then I've just kind of committed reinforcements to this fight as my opponent started to break through. But as you can see, he's got a few cavalry left. He's going to swing around and hit me in the rear here. Definitely a good move. Fortunately, the woodland will slow that down a little bit, but still going to be devastating to my Armigeri Defensores, who are already probably losing to Gothic Palatina defectors. I still have a decent amount of ammo left with my slingers, and my opponent's continuing to fire at my general and my general only. I think underestimating what these Fundatores could do in late game. I do get a few shots quickly into the back of these Palatina defectors, and now my Cataphractari has the sole mission of destroying his archers. These guys are quite weakened and under heavy fire, so again, Germanic archers, I think if they're going to have the 200 rain, they should at least maybe nerf their rate of fire to try and balance that out a little bit. These guys can fire very quickly with flaming shot, and so I basically just charge through this Germanic archer and then silence this other one. This one's going to rout because of the fear effects, basically, from being hit. Magister Militum going to mop up the Noble Germanic Horsemen, and then I'm just going to kite away from these Gothic Palatina defectors. I'm losing the fight over here, but my opponent lost quite a bit of infantry. These Elite Palatina racked up 151 kills. These Armigeri Defensores up to 73 kills, doing quite good. And my Cataphractari are just really laying down the hurt on his archers. I'm going to have over 300 kills by the time they rout. So basically, my opponent has 2 cav units left, badly weakened. I think he left them in the fight a little too long against my Elite Palatina, and here he does not get the most brilliant charge on my Armigeri Defensores. And he does start killing them, and he's got more infantry units coming, and he can't catch me with his Palatina defectors, but I had skirmish on, and this unit starts heading towards this blob, and it's going to get caught in between. That's why you can see it acting funny. But my Magister Militum is back and ready to crush these Gothic Palatina defectors. There are no more javelins left for the enemy infantry, which is very fortunate for my Magister Militum if I want to win. Again, flaming shots into his units that are already quite weakened. A very risky proposition. In fact, he's probably causing the rout of his own men here. My slingers may still be on fire at will. I can't remember. They are. Well, no, they're not. I target his cavalry at this point, and this is where I'm going to give my opponent some trouble. He has these cav units, and he badly needs them, and I just pour the sling fire into them. And at the same time, I'm hitting his infantry. This blob was perfect. I lost a unit of slingers, but I'm going to destroy what's left of his Noble Germanic Horsemen, which means that I now have a horseman left, and my opponent only has 1 archer unit, but it will get the job done. And he's very, I mean, again, just been absolutely intent on firing at my general this whole time. So I have to continue to flee, and the range of that Germanic bow, look, these guys are like halfway across the map, is what it seems like, and they are still almost in range of my general. Again, I think they need to nerf these guys a little bit, or just increase their costs a little bit. I don't want them ruined, but I mean, they are very good for the price. And if you're going to make them very good for the price, take something else away from the Germanic factions. Make their infantry less good, if their archers are going to be good. Like, do something. Again, they're not like wacky OP, it's just kind of frustrating that it seems like the German factions have everything. I have a little bit of ammo left, very little. The enemy general is near death. He's got a Gothic Palatina defector and an archer, so I'm going to take this unit that has no ammo and charge his archer to push it out of range. This is going to free up my Magister Militum to get into the combat. And then I want to say that the steady ability has come back for this this general, which gives him a little bit of extra missile block chance. So I should have used it already. I did not, and I lost a man, but I used it now. So I've used the steady effect, though my Magister Militum is exhausted. So this will give me a little extra missile block chance. I think it's plus 10. I start throwing the rest of my remaining ammo in here. This should hit some of his general unit in the back. I keep his archers from firing with the sacrifice of my slingers, cause a lot of damage to his Germanic archers, and I'm going to get a brutal rear charge into his general with my Magister Militum, so that they come in with the sweet Spatha. And the enemy general is, and you can see the blood effects here. It's not bad, but I really think that it should have looked better. Enemy general dies, and this is great. And I decide, though, to go ahead and pull my general out of combat, and then my general dies. I should have just left him. I think he would have beat the Palatina defectors, especially if I would have rear charged with my slingers. But the enemy units were out, so a very close battle and a very fun game. I think that there's a few things that came into play here. My opponent outmaneuvered me, number one, and certainly got the better of me in that respect. His army was well chosen, and it was pretty tough. What hurt him in the end is that I really did outnumber him, it seems like, with infantry. I may be wrong. Let's take a look. So I've got 7 infantry. I think he had 7 infantry. Yeah, he did. So we had the same number of infantry. These Fundatores, though, clutched it out. 150 talents, and I got 68 kills with this one and 40 with these two. That's pretty clutch, actually. And I mean, those are going to be helpful kills. This Cataphractari also clutched it. It destroyed one of his infantry units, destroyed a cav unit, and then destroyed some of his archers. This one got a few of his archers and a few cavalry, not as good. You can see my Equites Promoti. This is a good indication of what noble Germanic horsemen will do to Equites Promoti. They will thrash them. But the Romans have to use, I think, their infantry tankiness to make up for it. One elite Palatina doing extremely good, the other one getting throttled by the enemy cavalry. Those kills, though, were probably mostly against cav, which helps a little in the comeback, but not a lot. But I think that the slingers at the end clutched it out. The solid performance from most of my Armigeri Defensores, obviously not this one, is going to have made a big difference. And then this Cataphractari right here in my Magister Militum, obviously clutching it out as well. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. So I think my opponent picked a good army and he maneuvered well. In the end, though, I was just able to take advantage of a few key situations. When he overloaded that cav flank, it's almost... He committed heavily, and he started out doing very well, but he may have underestimated the impact that my Cataphractari could have on that fight. Once he committed his infantry and cavalry into melee, getting rear charged by Cataphractari is going to be quite devastating. So I was lucky to turn that around, because like I said, he certainly outmaneuvered me and caught me off guard and did a better job in the early engagement. A very fun battle. I actually really enjoyed that one. I wish all the battles turned out that way in Attila, and, you know, again, hopefully the patch has moved things a little bit for the better. And again, tomorrow will be bringing you some updates on the Celtic units and the Celtic factions. Hope you enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.